Friends, just lend an ear and listen to a story sad but true, how our families, friends, and neighbors search for distant land so new. We've been told that we must, and I've always been very glad I got the idea driven into my head at an early age that making music and sharing songs and stories is what real people do with their time. And I'm glad that I get to do it. And you know, Grant was, he was so encouraging, you know, always eager and giving me, you know, positive reinforcement for getting up there and singing. And Grant wrote some songs about the building of the Cannonsville Reservoir that forced him and his family and friends and neighbors to scatter around, and it was a very difficult experience for them. There's a song of his that I've always appreciated. I was pretty devoted to collecting songs about the building of the reservoirs for lots of good reasons. Most of the songs that I've been able to find from the building of the Papacton and the Cannonsville have a very sad, bitter tale to tell, because, you know, it's not a good experience having your community torn apart and pretty much erased. Interestingly, you know, more than 100 years ago, when the Ashokan Reservoir was being built over in Ulster County, the songs were a little different. They were kind of glorifying the construction of these magnificent things that were going to do incredible things, that the power of mankind to take millions of gallons of water and move it hundreds of miles. And so they were songs about the heroes who designed and constructed it. And then you know, later on you get more songs from the perspective of the people who had to bear the brunt of that. If you ever met a little child and of you he was not sure, if he asked you for some water, would you turn him from your door? Now like him there's countless thousands leaning on our guiding hand. All they want is some water from our land. All they want is some water from our land. Now, out of all the songs that I ever found about the construction of the reservoirs, you know, the ones that are talking about the great hero J. Waldo Smith, who built the Catskill Aqueduct in the first few years of the 20th century, or whether it's the songs about people having to lose their homes and towns and never see their relatives again, that's the only one. That's the only one that I ever found that tries to tell both sides of the story. You know, of course, Grant knew that his friends and neighbors were pretty darn upset about it. But, you know, I know that he wrote that song to kind of try to help everybody understand that even though it was a difficult thing, that, as he said, countless thousands of people were depending on it. And so it's interesting that he had what it took to see beyond himself and be able to tell both sides of the story in that song. When the flood comes to the valley, spanning miles from shore to shore, then we realized as humans we could have done but little more. There'll be many hearts that are broken among the young as well as old, for they'll never see their old homes anymore. No, they'll